The question is the ضمير هن in the verse والذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن. That hunna is a pronoun about what? Because sama is singular.
My co-host.
Just have to unmute everyone.
Who is my co-host?
Last name was false.
हेलो
आपके होस्ट तैयब हैं। तैयब आपके होस्ट
It is in Surah Baqarah.
Hold on, sir. Let me just get the. Let me just get these microphones sorted out. Who is my co-host?
तैयब हैं
साहिल भाई
आपके
I
host।
am I'm muting everyone. आप कर दिए सबको mute.
अपना नाम तो बताएं ना। तैयब
उनको पता है साहिल भाई तैयब तैयब.
Mahin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Mahin, is this an overseas link?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would request everyone to please put your country's name
After your
as
name.
your name, so that I can actually, go to you. This is not a session for Pakistan time. I know I appreciate people who are waking up, but we are actually directing our overseas campaign now because we're just about to start the tour, inshallah. So let me just keep it focused only on those questions which are coming for people. Well, you're going to ask questions for yourself, but they will be hopefully representing people who are with you in your school and in your circles, so that we can actually try and propagate as much as we can in your own circles. I hope everybody gets the message. This is not going to be a session in Urdu. Please make sure your questions remain in English, because of this very reason. I have been getting a million comments about in my email box, especially that we cannot find subtitles to your videos. So either you start an English channel altogether, or at least do some kind of programming at least once a week or once a month for your English only users. I hope everybody gets to understand why I'm putting that kind of a restriction in place. I personally don't want to put any kind of linguistic restrictions, but this is how it is. And
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
जी बहनी.
host, please, when you mute, I get also muted. Tayyip, so you gotta unmute me. If you mute everybody, you gotta unmute me, okay?
बहनी तू क्या करती है? तू गंदे काम करती है?
Tayyip आपसे नहीं हो सका. तैयब आपसे नहीं
आपकी
हो रहा।
आवाज आ रही है साहिल भाई, आ रही है बोले आप।
Yeah, और भी बड़ी आवाजें आ रही है ना। You're not
यार
handling
मैं
this,
कर
man.
रहा हूँ कर रहा हूँ
It's all
कर
right.
रहा
It's
हूँ
all right.
कर
It's
रहा हूँ।
not something you can do. Mine, can you handle this? No, mine is not even replying. So yeah, this is a problem. I can't
कर
even
दी है
get
मेरी
Pakistani
प्यार।
Muslims to do these kind of tasks. You think I'm going to let them to conquer the world? This is a problem.
Everyone's mute except you, आप बोलो, everyone's mute.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This is a personal session. Personal means you can ask any question. You're going to keep one personal session a month where you're going to ask personal questions. Do not take any counseling. Well, don't ask any counseling sessions. I'm not going to give you long answers. Personal sessions could be, things which you don't really get to talk about. And don't go a little too personal, means don't give me any detail about your family or yourself, or ask me about certain, I mean, you can ask me anything. You can ask me anything, don't worry. And I'll choose whether I can or cannot answer later. But this is one of those personal sessions. Please turn this. Okay, I'll do it myself. Okay, so let's just start with the question, sir. You were, first question is Surah Baqarah. Surah Baqarah, you said the plural feminine noun is used for the one word sama, right? Okay, I'll double back on this question later on. Let's just get people who have raised their hands. Tayyab, please, starting with country only. Let's go to Japan. Okay, Japan. Japan, yeah, good morning, Japan. Yeah, this is a morning in Japan, right? Japan. Gee, Japan.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah, sir.
Walaikum salam. Just a quick reminder, few announcements. We are just about to leave for Indonesia. Our world tour is beginning 3 days from now. We have not advertised Indonesia. We are, inshallah, going to Indonesia for public and personal sessions and a lot of meetings. So Muslims, Pakistani Indians, whoever can understand English or Urdu, we are going to be in Indonesia for 10 days, inshallah, starting from 1st of September or 2nd of September, inshallah. And then right after I come back from Indonesia, inshallah, I'll be going to Melbourne on the 1st of October, 25th of September, between 25th of September and 1st of October. And we'll be staying in for 3 weeks. If not 2, I will try for 2 weeks only, because I got to make a quick comeback to Scandinavia, inshallah. So these are the 2 countries coming up: Indonesia first 2 weeks of September, and Australia first 2 weeks of October, inshallah. This is anybody in Australia who is going to complain later on that I did not get to see a brochure on Facebook or Insta or whatever. I'm saying it in live programming right now. You're going to catch this video on some sort of a channel. There's so many, inshallah. So Australia, first 10 days of October, and Indonesia, first 10 days of September, inshallah. Okay, anybody who wants to join, any, they're mostly free sessions. This is a psychology tour for building up the true Muslim psychology for overseas Muslims. And if you are interested in organizing a session, you will be able to call. You'll be able to see a number in this description of this video tomorrow, when you're going to wake up though. And well, no, when we're going to wake up, you're going to have this description, the number in the description as soon as, we finish this video. For people who want to organize a session, we're not charging for any Muslim identity psychology session. This is a Muslim psychology tour. Okay, we are going to cover a very detailed map, inshallah, on understanding how to resurrect yourself as a Muslim, as a contributing Muslim towards the Muslim identity of the global community. We are going to be taking a lot of IEMS related projects, tasks, not projects, tasks to overseas Muslims now. We are trying for Pakistan, and there's amazing response coming from Pakistan. However, we want to expedite this because I actually believe that, we have 10 times the power of the, quotients in the emotional side and the mental side in overseas Muslims. So relying heavily on that, inshallah. May Allah, help everybody from within and outside Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, who can understand English or Urdu, inshallah. So let's just Japan, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
So this is Hadoli from Japan, and basically we are not useful to speak English in Japan. So can I ask you the question in Urdu or in Japanese language before we are just?
Don't worry, you're doing fine. You're doing awesome, actually.
Yeah, sure. Basically, sir, I have 3 kids here in Japan, so they are going to grow here and they are going to learn here. So I basically, you can say that I'm just a little worried about that, their education, and basically we are trying to be like them, but we are not like them. We are the Muslim person. I need to put my kids in Japanese school because they are now the one is 2 years old and one is 5 years old and one is 6 years old, sir. So I'm just worried about that because I want to speak, I want to learn Japanese, like Japanese to my kids. I want to put them in the Japanese school. And can I put in Urdu, sir? मैं अपने बच्चों को सर बेसिकली जापानीज स्कूल में एडमिट करना चाहता हूँ कि अभी वो 2 इयर्स का सर 2 इयर्स का उसको मैं इसलिए डालना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि वो उनकी तरह जापानीज बोले और उनकी तरह वो उनके जो जितने भी इधर के कल्चर है उनको सीखे, क्योंकि मेरी तरह मैं तो उनकी तरह जापानीज नहीं बोल सकता और ना मुझे उनके कल्चर्स आते हैं। और इधर हम लोग बेसिकली जो इस्लामिक सिस्टम, सो माय क्वेश्चन इज दैट कि मैं अपने बेटे को जापानीज स्कूल में भी डाल सकता हूँ उसको फॉर लर्निंग फॉर जापानीज कल्चर और उनकी जो लैंग्वेज है उनको अडॉप्ट करने के लिए, क्योंकि हम फर्दर आगे इधर जो मेरा मिशन है को हम लोग उनको इस्लामिक एजुकेशन की तरफ लेके आना चाहते हैं अपनी जो मेरे बच्चों को, और उनको जो जापानीज को उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा एजुकेट करना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि इस तरह का भी इधर कोई माहौल हमें नजर नहीं आ रहा ना। तो मैं चाहता हूँ मेरे बच्चे जापान में पढ़े, 2 साल से लेके पढ़े, जब वो बड़े हों 10-15 साल के हो तो वो उनको अपना इस्लामिक उनको बता सके, उनको एजुकेट कर सके इस्लामिक हवाले से, क्योंकि भी जापान में जो मुस्लिम की जो वर्थ है, जो मुस्लिम की जो पॉपुलेशन है, आई थिंक इज ऑलमोस्ट 1,85,000 सर, दे आर इन जापान सर, और जितने जापानीज है वो 10,000 है सर ऑलमोस्ट। और उस हवाले से मैं ये बात करना चाहता हूँ कि अपने बच्चों को क्या मैं शुरू से उनके स्कूल में डाल दूं या उनको 4 या 5 साल या 6 साल के बाद उनके स्कूल में डालूं सर जापानीज सीखने के लिए?
You don't have to put them in school for just Japanese. They're going to learn Japanese anyway. Don't worry. Okay.
It's no problem, sir.
No matter what you do, they're going to learn Japanese. Okay.
और सर एक और चीज सर मैं आपसे पूछना तो सर द लास्ट क्वेश्चन कि हमारे घरों में सर ये डरपोक बच्चे क्यों पैदा हो रहे हैं? मुझे इसकी चीज की समझ नहीं आ रही सर।
It's a cultural thing. लेकिन डरपोक बंदा बहादुर बच्चे की परवरिश कर सकता है. Okay, he can do that. Don't worry about it. But because he doesn't do it because
इतने जितने भी मुसलमान है सर सारे डरपोक सर, कोई भी बाहर निकलने को एग्री नहीं है, कोई भी मेरे साथ वो जस्ट कहते हैं कि जैसे चल रहा है उसको चलने दे, आप उसको क्यों इसको छेड़ना चाहते हैं इस चीज को? हम लोग जैसे चल रहे हैं, हम अपने मस्जिदों में बैठे हुए हैं, हमें बाहर निकलने की जरूरत नहीं है। आप जैसा चल रहे हैं उसको चलने दे, आप उसको चेंज करने की क्यों जरूरत आपको पड़ी हुई है? आप अपने बच्चे जब 7 साल के होंगे हमारे पास मदरसा भेज दे, हम उसको कुरान पढ़ा देंगे और कुरान पढ़ के घर चला जाएगा बस। They are trying to do like
की बात बहुत कट के आ रही थी मुझे, अब तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं आ रही जी। I'll answer your question because it's bigger part of general. I'll answer the general inquiry of why people do not have courage. Okay, and they don't have courage because their parents are worshiping their kids, nothing else. That's a concept in psychology. Practically, whatever we're doing with our kids is what people used to do with their idols 2,000-3,000 years ago. They really just they think this. It's the biggest thing that ever happened to them, that they have a child, and instead of thinking about the child, they're selfishly thinking about them, that they have a child. So the child's identity doesn't really matter. Their identity actually gets a 1-up. And that's the problem. So why would anyone teach that kind of child courage? Because that courage is going to put a lot of risk in the diagram, and they cannot take that risk. They because the way they look at children is the problem. Okay, and that's something you got to solve. You have to make sure it's a very temporary thing you got. We never get children forever. We only get children for, let's just say, 8 or 10 years. After that, they're not supposed to be children. That's why most of our children remain children even after they're 30, because their parents are obsessed with the child. Okay, they just want, you know, the child to stay in, and just like, you know, their parents are the worst thing that ever happened to the children. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird phenomenon, you know, greedy and, you know, timid. When greed meets, you know, fearfulness, or, you know, when greed comes in or harbors inside a timid person, that's what happens, you know. So when greed and this person becomes greedy for whatever he wants to gain, and, you know, a child becomes a party to the gain, or an instrument to that gain, and that greed becomes part of the whole, you know, matrix of how and why and where every decision is going to come from, and that steals away the child's identity, and the child never grows into his or her own identity, because the parent has to force that identity upon him or her, which of course is, you know, the parent is greedy or afraid about. So when a timid person marries greed, these kind of children are inevitable. They have to beget, you know, timid and, you know, shallow children. That's what we got to change. We got to take that risk. We have to take the risk. You know what I'm saying? It's a smaller risk than getting married to a wrong man or a woman. This is a smaller risk, but we got to take that. We never take that risk, because most of the parents, because of the fact that they don't really work into understanding what kind of woman or man they have to marry, so they compensate for whatever loss or vacuum their spouse is giving them. They compensate this from the, you know, with the children, and by the children, and from the children, instead, you know, in fact, to the children. They're actually, you know, directing every of their fracture, and these children are not capable to fulfill, you know, fill out those fractures for them. But that's what we've been doing to our parents all our lives. That's why whenever you see a classical archetype of a man or a woman, let's take a woman for example, she actually gets her confidence after the kids. Imagine the irony. Okay, I should be saying all of this in Urdu so that I can literally hit the nail in the, you know, the right spot. But I'm not gonna, because this is for overseas. I'm not gonna cross that line. But you can see a Desi woman. She becomes obsessed by the very notion of her being a mother. Instead of her being a mother, she becomes the you know, the possessor of the power. A mother is not a possessor of any power. You need to understand that. She does not get anything. A real mother does not get anything. She gives everything. But the Desi woman becomes that person that has more power now. See the difference in psychology? It's an inbound selfish psychology. And then I'm going to come to the man later on. Don't worry. I'm not just pointing out the women. But why would she put that kind of a child into a risky situation? Courage is a very risky concept. You can lose your life, starting with losing your life. And then if you're lucky, you get less and less things to lose, like money or reputation or credit or whatever. Could be anything. But you know, when a woman is given that you know, that notion that once you have kids, then you have power over your husband and family, and you get true identity. I'm sorry, that's not your identity. Your kids are there for what, 15, 20 years? After that, they're going to live your own lives. What's going to happen to your identity then? You're not going to remain a mother. I want to know what kind of a mother is practicing her motherhood on a 50-year-old son of hers, or, you know, a 30-year-old son. She's not supposed to be nursing or doing any kind of motherly responsibility for that. This is actually, in turn, the kid's responsibility to take care of the mother. So it's a very temporary status you get. And only for that 10, 15 years, you become, you know, you ruin every single ounce of your own personality, identity, self-worth, self-esteem, you know, self-confidence. Because that kid, as soon as he or she's going to grow up, you're a nobody. You are a nobody, okay? And we all know that. All of our mothers are nobodies. Let's admit the truth, okay? I'm trying to help you here. Women, I'm trying to help you. I'm going to come to the man later. Don't worry. But right now, you're the actual cause of a bigger part of the problem here. Okay. This psychology is ruining every single house. Okay. We have all people, mothers who were born in the 50s are now old women and they're no bodies. Okay. 60s, no bodies. 70s, just about to get there. Get where? Becoming a nobody. You have no identity. You're just about to be a vegetable in the house. You know, you're going to be a sloth of the house watching TV and, you know, trying to find the next old woman to gossip with. You know, you have no skills, you have no knowledge, you have no exposure, you have no acumen. Hence, you have no acumen. You're not a contributor by any source because whatever you did, okay. So you nursed a boy or a girl for 15 years. And then what? Then he grew up, flew out of the nest. I'm not saying whatever he did or did not do is not going to go to your credit. What I'm saying is that's his or her doing, your offsprings. Now, what are you going to do? Think about it. What are you going to do? Look behind you. You look at your mothers. These women are depressed, not because they have nothing to do, but because they have no identity. They have actually no worth of their own. Okay, so it's a problem. I can give you a 10-hour lecture on what kind of a problem a man or father is going through, but let's call a spade, okay? A father does not get power inside the household after he has kids. In fact, if anything, he goes a little weaker because he's got 10 times more the responsibility. But the mother is gaining power. She's yielding, you know, this new sources of energy she's yielding. This is actually sick. You know, instead of being a giver, outbound all the time, she's the most inbound person now. Because in the bigger holistic picture, she's just trying to gain whatever she can as equity, new identity as a mommy, and as a fertile woman, as a potential owner of the, you know, property. This is a problem. This is what yields timid offsprings. Why wouldn't her kids be timid? You know, because if anything happens to that child, she's gone. She's a nobody. Because that's all she has. We all know why our mothers were protected. That was not the core reason of why mothers were protected. They're protecting their estate, literally. Okay. Whatever equity they're getting.
साहिल भाई आपकी आवाज हल्की हो गई है काफी ज्यादा. Can you check your mic, please?
Yeah, okay.
Can you speak? Can't hear you. नहीं आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I don't know what part of my answer did you hear or not. Okay, let's just take the next question, please. I'll just unmute. Oh, Tayyib, this is not your play, eh? This is not your ground. Okay, let's just.
Unmuted Italy.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. I have asked the question before. Surah Bakra.
And
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you asked the question about Surah Baqarah. Oh, the feminine plural pronoun, hunna.
Naam.
Even though it's a singular pronoun, singular noun, sama. If it was samawat, hunna would have made sense.
Naam.
Yeah. So recite the full ayah. After this, after hunna.
فسوهن سبع سماوات.
فسوهن سبع سماوات وهو بكل شيء عليم. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what you want me to, so what you want me to tell you is, why is there a plural feminine pronoun even though there's a singular noun preceding it?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, read the full ayah now. You're going to find the compound here. هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض أرض جميعا, right?
Yes.
And then the word ard comes in, right? Then
Yes.
he goes towards astawa, to erect, ila sama, towards the heaven.
Right.
Yeah. فسبحهن سبع سماوات وهو بكل شيء عليم. Let me get back to you on this one, okay? I'm not going to just think out of my head. This is the Quran we're talking about, okay? Because right now, on the face of it, you can see that it is a plural. I cannot use this word, plural tense.
Majestic, bro.
Yeah, but I'm not going to just blurt out my opinion here. I'll just go into my tafsir and I'm going to get back to you. Okay. I do not know the answer of your question right now. Okay. No, I'm not going to wing it. This is the Quran. Okay. Good question. Let me just, because on the face, I'm also looking for, okay, because, we're talking about, but if there was no thumma, I would have thought, Ard and Jamia is, connected. But the word thumma means now, whatever is going to follow after thumma is going to have to be plural feminine. Okay. But it's not. You're right. It's just a singular sama.
But sama is also something that is above. So maybe, I don't know.
No.
The meaning of sama cannot be also that something above.
No. I'm not going to just push out on my own meaning. Sama means samawat.
Okay.
But it says is that then he looked towards the heavens. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Then he put his attention towards the heavens and created 7 heavens there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, because
I'll search it.
Yeah, summa stawa ila sama. Then he looked up. That's what it means. I'm going to look into the technicality of it because I know who to go to. But it's not a big rocket science because I'm sure any tafsir is going to tell you. Did you not go to any tafsir?
I hear that hunna is like the middle shan. It's like how do you say it in? Yeah, not yet any tafsir. So I will search about it.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's about samawat. It's pretty clear, but I'm not going to just the more I'm going to talk to you, the more I'm going to be tempted to just give you my opinion about this. Okay. Let me just look into it. It's going to be, of course, going to be obviously in every book. Because, sure. Yeah, because when the ayah says, Summa stawa ila sama, it does not mean, that he's creating, the heaven. It says, Summa stawa ila sama, that once the heaven, the earth is done, or wherever the terrestrial plane is making here, Allah Azza wa Jal, then he looks up and creates 7 heavens on top, right? That's literally what it means here. Now I'm going to go into, fasabahunna, and I'll get back to you, don't worry. Okay. I'm actually in a totally different mode right now. Otherwise, I would just open a tafsir. I'm pretty sure it's going to be right on the face of this ayah. And any tafsir of why hunna, whether it is for sabah samawat or all of the things, which are preceding. Of course, it cannot be for the ard because, what I'm saying? It's the word hunna wouldn't have come here. Okay.
Fahad, Scotland, and then Neelam, UK, and then Rabia, Saudi. You can all take turns. Fahad, Scotland.
Assalamu alaikum.
You're really making a mess out of this. I'm telling you. Gee, wa alaikum salam.
Jazakallah khair for having me. I have 2 questions. First, that thank you for IMS group जो आपने chat open किया है उसके लिए बहुत शुक्रिया. That's really helpful and we are getting lots of knowledge from that. मेरा पहला question ये है भाई कि आपने
What's going on with everybody's mic? Oh, I'm assuming that you guys are getting muted by the co-host for not speaking English, because this is only for English kids. Kids in Scotland. How do you say kids in Scotland? In Scottish. Lads. This is for the lads in Scotland. Okay. I hope this one does not go live. Gee, go into English. Come on, Scotland. You're
Okay,
living in Scotland. The first thing you got to learn is English in Scotland so that you can propagate for God's sakes. Now, I've got a lot of Irish tinge in there because I grew up in an Irish school. So, you're tempting my little Irish. But if you in Scotland are having a hard time asking a question in English, then how are you going to actually propagate IMS in Scotland?
So I was asking that if I want to introduce to people like from other country, like I was speaking to one friend of mine in Masjid
How long have you been in Scotland for, sir? Tell me. How long have you been in Scotland for?
4.5 years.
Okay, 4.5 years. How old are you, sir? What's your name?
I'm 36. Fahad.
36. Okay. You work there, you study?
I work.
You work in
living
Scotland?
For 14 years.
You married in Scotland? You have Scottish kids?
No. One kid was born in Pakistan and one was in London. So I moved here in Scotland like 4.5 years ago. But I've been
So how long you been in England? The Great Britain?
In 14 years. In UK, 14 years. I've spoken to you a few times before as well.
Okay. So what's your question, sir?
My question was, are you going to introduce IMS in English so I can pass on that group to people who
Yes, sir, we are,
speak?
inshallah.
And second question is, I've started home education, like you called it home schooling, but are you planning to do something, like, to be honest with you, the source code is like the fees you're talking about a little bit higher than what we do here. So, I mean,
Really?
For me, it's higher, to be honest. That's why I'm being honest with you.
No, I'm not doubting you. What I'm saying is, we're charging what, $15 now? $15 a month per subject?
Yes.
Yeah, that's more than the public school because that's free in Scotland.
Yeah, here the educations are free, but
how many kids do you have? You have 2?
Yes, I have 2. I've
Okay,
started.
here's the thing. Okay, I don't know whether people know about this. Let me just introduce this little plan to everybody because it's already in place from day one. If you have 3 kids or a child who has subscribed for 3 courses, you get into the lower category. There's a different plan for the whole fee structure changes. It drops down by 20% right there. And if the more subjects that you subscribe for, the less you gotta pay. Okay, so that's how simple it is. And so we understand. But I'll tell you something, that this whole discount was for single mothers and for Pakistani residents because of what's going on in Pakistan. But for STEM courses, let me just open the gates for this package plan for anyone who's coming from anywhere. Okay, don't worry.
And one more thing, my brother. I've been asking you, if you remember, like from last few months, I've spoken to you. Surah Kaf, last 4 episode. Could you please upload that one the way you describe it? It was really good. I've seen it by my own. I can't say it because you told us don't mention your dreams. So I've seen it I've seen from the 11 episodes. So could you please upload rest of other 4? You gave us a big vision and I know where you're taking us and I highly appreciate. May Allah reward you the way His kingdom is. You know, I mean,
Oh,
Allah
Jazakallah
of course.
khair. Amazing prayer. Thank you for such a beautiful prayer.
No,
But I will try to do a. Well, now you know what? I just did a 19 episode program with a TV channel. I just did that. Hopefully that's going to compensate for every missing episode anywhere about Surah Kahf. Okay, inshallah.
So could you please, so what are you saying, like source code for the kids, you are going to open the session, it up, uske liye aur aasan karenge?
No, we're talking about Surah Kahf, last 4 episodes. Where did the
Yes.
kids come from?
No, I'm going back to the fee side, source code, because
No, I just said कि जो पाकिस्तानियों को मैंने residents को discount दिया है ना, I'm gonna just tell my team कि वो globally सबको कर दें. We have students from 81 countries right now. Okay, alhamdulillah, people are really coming in. But I tell you why मैं पाकिस्तानियों को ज़्यादा discounts क्यों करता हूँ मैं? Because you're not in Pakistan. आपको नहीं पता इन लोगों ने क्या किया पाकिस्तान के साथ. You have no idea what Pakistanis are going through. So I understand that. So we just throw away discounts, especially women who are raising their kids, you know what I'm saying, alone. And people who have more kids, mashallah. So we know that itna burden nahi aana chahiye family pe. We try our best ke source code corporate se main zyada se zyada paise le sakun, because I don't take donations. And if anyone, just a disclaimer, anyone has ever asked for any donation ever or in the future, wallah alam aage mera kya banega, please do not let anybody use source code or Sahil Adeem's name. We never have asked for a penny of donation. We have a sponsorship program. I'll tell you what that program is. You can sponsor a student in source code. We connect you with that student so that you can track his performance and you can pay that student or tell us that I've paid for this guy's fee so that he would know that, you know, you're paying his fee. It's that transparent. Okay. And there are hundreds of people who just pump money into that sponsorship account. We keep tracking them. And, you know, the banks never tell us where this international remittance is coming from, but we try our best to track so that we can actually tell them who are your students, who are you sponsoring. Okay. I cannot begin to appreciate those men and women who just keep pushing that sponsorship button, but please let us know your name, not because we know we know, I know you don't like vanity and you're doing it for Allah. I know you're trying to help somebody. But I want you to take responsibility, that boy to take responsibility that you're helping him or her. He or she needs to be connected to you because he's getting that course for free and he takes it for granted. More people, more students in source code are whoever I'm talking about, are sponsored students. They don't perform as much as people who are paying the fee. So we understand the psychology. So if you're sponsoring a student, you're clicking that sponsorship button on the website, give us your information. We are not going to go public with that if you don't want us to. If you want us to, we'll go public with that. But if you don't want us to, we will have to put you and that student connected to each other so that that student would know that this guy is, you know, doing me a favor. Tomorrow I have to do somebody else a favor. And you can, you know, check his performance as well. Okay, I hope. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum, sir. You can make me the co-host if you want any help.
Oh, the Tayyib is doing an amazing job, isn't it, Tayyib?
Sir, can I ask you?
Amna,
Sir, is it my turn?
you are the co-host. Tayyib, I think, is gone away. Ji, yes, ma'am.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Sir, this is Rabia from Saudi Arab. I have 3 parts of questions. Sir, I have got 3 questions. One is related to
just the one would be fine right now
living.
because there are people in the queue. Just one, please. Go on.
I'll be very quick. One is about living without husbands, away from husband, like if they are earning somewhere and wives living in some other country. I want to talk about that stuff. When we see multiple people going for earning opportunities outside the country, we find wives overwhelmed with responsibilities in the country, and husbands find it difficult to manage without a family unit, and majority of them got to become a prey of the bad stuff like pornography and other stuff. So I think that we need an answer. We need a discussion or an answer for that, because it is growing badly and it impacts the upbringing of kids too, because we get poor examples of kids then. We don't have good examples for them to portray in front of them. So I think, as for my experience, I think multiple marriages promotion in our country can be one of the solution, but the implementation is very difficult. So, sir, I want to know your verdict about it. And the second question is about homeschooling. As we have to move abroad for earning opportunities and for just bread earning, because we are not stable here, so we get the homeschooling option as the last safest option here. So, so I want to know if source code is going to expand for different more subjects, because it's having limited seats, limited subjects, and moreover, even the exposure to the major other subjects is not there. So I want to know if there are other homeschooling platforms like source code. So I want to get connected with it. And the third question is about immigration. The decision of immigration is a difficult one now. I have gone through your videos about that, and you have quite convinced us all that pledging to the immigration rules of a country is covering the it's impacting our iman, and the it's jab hamari, like we say when it's collapsing with a belief of kalma tayyiba. So how to deal with that if we don't have any other opportunity better? So please, sir, ye 3 questions I just have put.
We are expanding to 18 faculties in source code. Just to answer, the quickest answer for your second question is every 3 months we're going to open a new faculty. Hopefully it's not going to take 3 months after the 4th faculty, which is biology, but right after mathematics, which is tomorrow we are opening the house for mathematics. First orientation class for the batch 1 is happening, inshallah, tomorrow. Mathematics. Then we have taken 2 months between mathematics and physics, but we're going to hopefully open biology right at next month, because now we have that machine, that prototype of the support staff and the engine working, alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. And now we have the whole organogram and the whole structure and processes laid out. So now we can open multiple faculties at the same time. However, we're not just going to start 18 faculties right now, but by December, January, inshallah, we will have more than 5 faculties. We're planning more than 5 faculties, which is psychology, biology, physics, mathematics. But psychology is not going to be for kids, okay? But it's going to be a full working faculty, inshallah, come January. We are just about to launch mathematics tomorrow, inshallah, and then physics, and then biology. We have 18 faculties where there's some technical faculties for problem solving and, through computer programming and computer skills. And then English has been forced upon by my operations team that we're opening English house now, English as a language. And overseas Pakistanis are pushing that Urdu ki faculty bhi khole hain, bachchon ko Urdu sikhani hai. I am not for that, ki English ya Urdu abhi sikhayi jaye, pehle Arabi mein aaye. But this is for people who have, come up with a very good plan to get a linguistics department ready, so that kids who can speak English can speak Arabic, and kids who can speak Urdu but not English can learn English while they're learning Arabic. So multiple languages should be there. But Urdu is going to come way later. I'm not really prioritizing Urdu. I would rather all kids first whoever cannot speak Urdu should go into Arabic first and then Urdu if they have to learn Urdu. I know it's a necessary language, Urdu, because we're all Pakistanis and we have to, or Indians, we have to learn a correct, because the more languages you know, the better your IQ becomes. So more languages, more intelligence. However, priority is Arabic, and then we're going to actually fall back on English because of just the reason I just gave you. Then maybe other languages like Urdu or any relevant language is going to actually help the whole community to come together and discuss Islam and science and the universe and mathematics and the whole physics of things and the political science. So which is of course going to be right after political science is a faculty which is about to be coming right after psychology. They're going to come together, inshallah. So about husbands who go into this kind of behavior of shameful behavior, getting more women under their marriage would be a curse to the women, because if a guy who is going to go either into pornography or whatnot, just because he cannot get married, is not a qualification to get married. Okay, so the problem is that these people should be with psychiatrists and psychologists rather than single women looking for getting married. This is a problem. So that's a simpler answer to what the real cause of the problem and the solution to the problem is. And I'm not just talking about men here. Okay, I hope everyone knows what I'm talking about. But generally, most women are complaining about their men, complaining about that, चूंकि मेरी सिर्फ एक ही बीवी है तो मुझे काफी सारी चीजों की इजाजतें हैं, फहश चीजों की, एक बीवी हो या 100 बीवियां हो, इजाजतें नहीं है. आपकी बीवी ना भी हो तो फहशी की इजाजत नहीं है. Okay, so if you're going into this sort of crap, you're not supposed to be married to a Muslim woman, okay, or a man. So this is not an excuse to get more married women. You should be in a hospital, not in a in a house. Especially kids, Muslim kids or any human kids should not be dependent on you. You can have monkeys or other pets if you have this, or any other kind of species, goldfish, or could be anything, but no human beings should be dependent on you if you have this sort of justification for committing this sort of sin, because you are not married or you do not have enough women. Okay, so it's a problem. Okay, actually, don't even be with the monkeys. Yeah, no monkeys for you too, because that's how AIDS spread. Okay, so you're a danger to the whole society of Homo sapiens. Okay, no, just a hospital for you guys. Okay, next question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
What was the third question of this lady? I forgot. Homeschooling?
Migration.
Immigration.
About...
well, yeah, if you're not in Pakistan and you're working somewhere, then okay, the hierarchy is very simple. Dar al-Islam, Dar al-Kufr, Dar al-Nifaq. Okay, you choose where you are. Dar al-Islam, Dar al-Kufr, Dar al-Nifaq. That's an actual hierarchical diagram of the geopolitical landscape inside the technical Islam. So don't think that you going outside Pakistan. Outside Pakistan would be Darul Nifaq's exit to Darul Kufr or whatever. Okay, I know there's no Darul Salam Darul Islam right now. Yeah, go on.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Anwar. I'm a civil mechanical engineer. I'm 20 years old. My question was, as you always say, that we need to be participating in intellectual warfare at this time.
Your microphone is not working. Your microphone is not helping us. And okay, I'll just try and fix that till we get in England. Assalam. Quick question, please. We have 10 minutes to go.
You were talking about the psychology of the kids as raising them. I got the 3 kids, and what if a single mother with in the past or in from childhood she was having abusive, socially abusive and not glamour, very simple. How can she raise her 3 kids on the guidelines you are telling, because I've been following you last 3 years and I improved so much socially and also intellectually. So I wanted to raise my kids according to those parameters, Nahaj, which you always tell about. The mother should give courage to their kids, and mother give wins to their to kids. So I'm a bit confused about whenever I'm telling my kids in a polite way. They are all under 7, like the 3 hierarchy which you told in your videos. There should be nursing and then force and then these 3. So I'm a bit confused when my son is not a bit listening to me, so I get aggressive and he aggressive backs. So this behavior, I can't control it. If you can help me in this so that they can be those Muslims which you are in telling us they have to be like Sahaba and all the other who can fight against the all evils. I hope you got my question.
No, I didn't. But it's okay. I'll try and get some sense out of it. Let me just think about it. Turam.
Yes. How you doing?
Alhamdulillah. How you doing?
Long time no see.
Turam, jump into the question, man.
All right. So I had 2 quick questions. One is I'm in the financial industry, so I'm kind of worried about the interest aspect of it. I make great amount of money. I'm happy with the amount of money that I make. I'm not consuming any interest, but I'm a financial advisor in Manhattan. So I was kind of, conflicted. What are your thoughts on that? And next question would be, how would you be a friend of God?
Well, understanding how to get out of this interest business would be step 1 of becoming a friend of God. Okay.
I'm not consuming any. Not at all.
So you're not a part of the what do you do again?
I'm a financial advisor. So I work for banks. So I've worked for JP Morgan Chase in the past. And
you work for JP Morgan and you're saying you're not in the interest business?
I don't consume it personally. Like, I'm not the one getting paid.
Who's bankrolling you, man? Who's paying you? Like
JP Morgan Chase, of course, and they make their money
get
off
out of here.
interest.
You know what?
And
I'm sorry. You have no leg to stand on. Okay.
No, but
JP Morgan is bankrolling you. You're telling me you got no?
I resigned a long time ago. Why
did you just tell me that JP Morgan is bankrolling you?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. But they did in the past for a good 2 years because
what are you working for right now?
Studied finance. I'm an independent trader at the moment. I trade commodities. There's no interest involved in commodities, so it's gold and silver technically.
I'll take your word for it, and then there's no problem. You have no problem.
Okay. Good. So
what's your question?
was the first question. That was the first question. The second one you already know. That one was how to be a friend of God. The first one was, what are your real thoughts on interest? Like, if a person is not consuming it, but they're in the industry because they're a financial advisor.
Well, then that's the first advice you better give. Become an advocate for the system of God so that you can be a friend of God. So people who are in the finance business with you, you should try and, build up on the competence, on eloquence, actually, on competently describing to them in a global perspective, not just, that friend of yours or his big uncle or that trust fund baby that you're very close to. Try and talk about the bigger problems of this sort of system in increasing the gap between the rich and the poor and how it affects the bigger, part of human beings as a community, so that they can actually become more aware and know what kind of percentage that they contribute towards hurting everybody. You know what I'm saying? So you can actually be an advocate to God, of God, from God, for God, about God, and you'll see that you will become, the finest speaker on anything that you have to say, not just the good word. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very simple two-step process. Become competent, and then try and bring people in. If you're not competent enough, don't try and bring people in. You know what I'm saying? How people won't even come in, even if you call them, if you're not competent to begin with. But if you are competent, then you don't have to do much of that, preaching. People just look at you and they try and they understand where you're coming from in the shortest possible choice of words, simple things that you say or do, because you're well versed into describing the problems, the cause of the problems, and the solution. Now, since you are in the industry, that's why I'm saying charity begins at home. And you are in the heart of the evil. You're actually right in the center of evil, because you're, practically licking Wall Street right now as we speak. You know what I'm saying? So try and speak to your friends. Yeah. So how old are you now?
25. I just turned 25, June 20.
Yeah, you're old enough. You're not a kid anymore. You're 25. And the fact that you're saying that you're, doing well, people would listen to you more. That's the kind of world we live in. That's the kind of species we are. Okay. And that's organic. That's how things work. So any Tom, Dick, or Harry, who, even if he is well versed on the subject, wouldn't have that kind of an impact which you would have, because you're at the higher end of the food chain. You know what I'm saying? And that's something which gives you power. So people who are on a higher scaffolding in the whole dominance hierarchy, they have a bigger impact. They have a very wider window to become a friend of God. Nobody's like average Joes and, people who are still struggling in their own social and financial life. They're not emotionally capable, let alone become super competent in converting people's opinions and perspectives. So it's an opportunity, it's a responsibility. It's not a luxury that you're sitting on right now. All this money represents a job that you got to do, and you better do it. The fact that you're thinking about it is divine. Don't lose it. Don't let it go. Don't take it easy. The fact that you have this little feeling inside you is divine. That's the spark. That's the spirit of God. Don't take it for granted. I swear to you, you're not going to have it if you're not going to do anything about it for long enough. So cherish it, build up on it, and structure it with your own competence and research, and really, really know what you're talking about. Okay? Make sure you do your homework.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for your feedback, brother. Thanks a lot.
All right, yeah, no problem. No problem. Last question, please.
Yes, Maz.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Walaikum assalam.
So my question is on, you talked about your English faculty for your program source code. I was just wondering whether or not you're looking for teachers for that, or so that's one of the questions. And then the second question is, you talked about Darul Nifaq when it comes to Hijrah. I've done quite some research on it. Heard different scholars, Dr. Israr, different scholars, Ustad Abdurrahman Hassan, etc. So I just wanted to know, like, this term Darul Nifaq, like, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. I know Darul Islam, Darul Kufr, but I've never heard of Darul Nifaq before. So if you could maybe expound on that, and then so Dr. Israr would qualify Pakistan as, or he used to qualify Pakistan as Darul Islam. So could you please, like, maybe define that a little more clearly for the audience? Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
I have not listened to his explanation. I haven't listened much from him. So I really did not get to listen to his model, those pillars on which he's actually basing it, if he ever did call Islam, Pakistan Darul Islam. Maybe, well, I'm most certain that even if he didn't call it, he has idealized Pakistan as a potential Darul Islam. Okay. But all the time, and I've actually listened to Dr. Sahil, he's always crying about not getting the system of Islam in. So why would he call Pakistan a Darul Islam if it is a Darul Islam? Why would he want to change the system? Of course, he didn't call it Darul Islam. I hope not. But even if he did, then all his speeches about changing the system, implementing Islamic system in Pakistan would just go to waste. Why would you want to put Islamic system in Darul Islam? It is already an Islamic system if this is Darul Islam. But it's not. Okay. And the fact that people actually call every system, well, every process and system and policy and law Islamic, call themselves Muslims and try and make sure that none of its essence goes into, or the spirit goes into the letter which is written in the books of law, then it makes it the Darul Nifaq. If some country doesn't even claim that they want the system of Islam or have anything to do with classical, philosophy of Islam as part of their constitution or anything close to it, then that's not Darul Nifaq. That's just, another attempt to be just, a good-looking Darul Kufr. Okay. The constitution has to be apparently Islamic and inherently evil, or not competently done with an intent from the people who have power to remain in power. That would make it Darul Nifaq. Okay, who can change for the better, but won't because of their own benefit. And people who are generally in the mass wouldn't be really courageous enough to do anything about it. All of this whole sphere would be, classical, off the rack Darul Nifaq for you. Now, if you want me to build up on, modeling a Darul Nifaq and try and give you the color coded pictures of different elements of what percentage of what kind of hypocrisy goes into the actions of people who are, doing whatever they're doing by the evil intent of just gaining for themselves, then yeah, we can talk about this for hours. But generally speaking, I just gave you the philosophy of why any country can be qualified as a Darul Kufr, Darul Islam, or Darul Nifaq. Now, I didn't invent this term. You have to understand that. I'm nobody to invent these sort of terms, because this is a like Darul Kufr or Darul Islam actually becomes Darul Kufr or Darul Islam because of some certain key elements which constitute the whole, paradigm of the laws and policies and procedures and systems, the philosophy behind those systems, and the implementation of the whole general system of governance and system of, different pillars which actually constitute your morality, your market, or your economy, or your regular policy and ruling over how to actually deal with people, which makes, of course, the laws and regulations of crime and punishment, and so on and so forth. But you get the big idea about why I'm talking about the hierarchy, because it's not my invention. Of this hierarchy is not mine. I didn't come up with an idea that, Darul Islam and Darul Kufr and Darul Nifaq. This is a classic common sense essence of whatever Islam is teaching us. And when I learned it the first time, I didn't get surprised or awestruck as to, oh my God, you came up with something which is so new and fresh. No, everybody knows about it innately. We just don't talk about it, or we just don't want to talk about it. That's why we just don't really plot this hierarchy on paper, let alone in front of people. Okay. So I hope you get the bigger part of your question answered. Okay, so let's just, I don't know if you have somebody else, or just call it a night or morning in New York.
Wasim, are you with us?
Only from England or Scandinavia, please.
Oh, he's from USA, if you can.
Okay, let's just take a mark.
Yes, I have a question about a recent discovery that was done, and it was from the Washington University, they published that they were trying to create invisibility cloak, and they created wormhole. And I was actually researching on Surah Kahf, and I just wanted to know if I'm on the right track or not, because inside that wormhole, time does not exist, and then the light is also bending around it, and Quran exactly mentions that. So first of all, I just want to know if that is the right thing, because they were using electromagnetic waves and against the gravity. So
I really have to look into it. I myself have to look into it, and then I'm going to actually get some experts to see what kind of, not about physics, I'm talking about the news, about the validity of the information about whatever's going on. So then we're going to
Star Dog by Neil deGrasse Tyson too. It was very recent. They tried to create it, and they were actually working on invisibility, and it was kind of a defense project. But it's exactly like, that electromagnetism actually bends the light around it, and which is exactly like mentioned what is in Quran, how the light was bending around it, and inside the wormhole, time stops. And cave, how Allah says that I will expand that space for you when you go there, and I will just provide my rahmah for you. So that was my first thing, if I'm on the right track or not, because I'm trying to, because this is a question that students.
The information that you gave me is too less for me to actually form a conclusion about such a big question, whether you're on the right track or not. But mentally, yeah, you're right, and philosophically, yeah, of course. I don't know whether you hit, or you struck gold, or you hit the jackpot right there. I do not know. I'll have to go into some details about this.
But the device they used was also made of iron and copper, exactly what Zulkarnain asked from the people to provide.
Yeah, makes a lot. It's very tempting. I really got to go into this. Please, as soon as you can, send any of my teammates a link so that we can actually try and see what's going on.
And second, one thing is I have you are actually hiring people for Arabic classes. I have this person, Imam Abu Muhammad, and he is like native Arabic, and he has learned Quran tafsir, and he has teaching experience. So if you want, can I send him too? But he only speaks English and Arabic. That's all.
Yeah, it's all right. We need those people who speak English and Arabic, because most of our overseas adults and kids, they prefer English as a medium, but that medium only stays for 3-4 months. After that, everything has to be in Arabic. Okay. Then send us the profile. Yeah, please. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're done. Anybody else want unmute?
You can say Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I'm 9, and I want to know how. I want to know. Speak louder. You need to speak louder. He can't hear you. I want to know how do you know if hadith is sahih or fake?
That's it? That's all you want to know?
Yes.
Why do you want to know that?
Why do you want to know that? Because there's a lot of hadiths in the mosque, and I don't know if it's correct or not.
Well, if somebody is telling you, okay. Most of the hadiths you're gonna listen to inside the masjid are gonna be sahih. Okay, so don't worry. And even if they're not sahih, you should ask the whoever teaches you the hadith, wherever in life, ask them whether it is sahih or not. Okay, good question. Okay, most of the hadith is going to be sahih. There is a big process through which a hadith goes through, and even if it is not sahih, there's still big chances, very big chances of it being correct, even if it is not sahih. Okay, so don't just judge a hadith only on these 2 words. Okay, there's many other words you're going to learn when you're going to grow up about the hadith, titles, labels. Okay, most of those labels are good labels, unless you hear the word mawzu. Don't worry about that. Take it and learn from it. Okay.
Okay. it? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jazakallah.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. I'll see you, huh? See you, inshallah. What'd you say? Down under. Okay. Let's just go one last. I want to know Scandinavia, please. If anyone's from Scandinavia, just come on the microphone. Scandinavia, anywhere from Iceland to
Assalamu
Greenland.
alaikum, Sahil bhai.
Walaikum salam.
My question is, what happened to your trip to Europe and to Norway?
We are coming to Norway, inshallah, and to Sweden. Norway and Sweden. Most probably in Finland, but just a quick one-day trip. Maybe 1 night and 2 days trip, inshallah. But right after Australia, we'll be focusing on some dates and locking the venues in Scandinavia, Sweden, and of course, Norway. Norway and Sweden more than Finland. No Greenland or Iceland, and no Denmark. Okay, it's just these 3 countries. Okay. Iceland is still in Scandinavia, right? Or was it ever in Scandinavia?
It is not part of the Scandinavian countries.
I don't know. But Greenland is, right?
So, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool enough. Close enough. Okay. Go on. Jay, anybody else? That was a very quick question from Nazia. Thank you so much. It's been such a long time I spoke to you. I hope Sajal is okay. Everything's fine. Pay my regards to her. Jay.
Madhya from UK.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. My question is that like even we live in foreign countries, but because we are from Pakistan, majority of women I'm talking about, we work here. We do most of women, they do jobs in like foreign countries, and then the men from Pakistan, when their wives they start working, they stop spending money on children, and like or if they are earning less, so they make it like an excuse that we don't need to spend money, like we cannot spend that much money on you, and they're like, oh, we need to save money, so they take women's money, and they give the example of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that you see our Prophet, he did the same, that Khadija Tarana helped him, and when he needed money. So it's like they are lazy. Actually, sometimes they are very lazy. Even if they are in Pakistan, I've seen a lot of women who work, so their men become very, very lazy. Their husbands, they become very lazy, and they rely heavily on women's money. And a lot of men have got narcissistic like tendencies. The children, they develop anxiety, depression. The women develop anxiety, depression. They go through a lot. What do you suggest? Like, should the women still be living with such kind of husbands, or what should they do? It's such a common problem. A lot of women here in this group, like in this here, would agree with me. It's such a common problem.
It's a question straight. Men who are Desi men, or any men that you know of, whenever their wives go into employment of any kind, all of a sudden they become a little stingy.
Madhya, you're
Yes,
muted.
yes. They become like before the women was earning. So they were earning, they were spending money on them. They were very kind, but they had narcissistic tendencies, selfishness, and all that. They had that earlier as well, but they were not as prominent. But as soon as the women they start earning money, everything becomes very prominent, and you can see that they are like, they try to save their money then, and they want the women to their wives to spend their money on children. So they become very stingy, and then they say, because you are earning more than me, or because you are earning now, so you should be contributing. And they even try to blackmail them. I know a lot of families, they blackmail their wife.
I got your question. I just wanted to rephrase it. So you're sorry. You don't have to go into that kind of detail. It's going to make you emotional. Okay, don't worry. Men who use Islam as a card of not making ends meet and letting their women, or making their women work for that matter, you should tell them to leave Islam or leave this marriage. Okay, that's it. However, that's not the answer I want to give you. This is a redefinition of their character and what you need to do. Women don't introduce the real threat to men who are hurting them in terms of whatever means are they hurting them with or from. So you need to be really well established by your character as women so that the threat is there that, you know what, this man cannot take you for granted. I'm not talking about your employment, money, or anything. I'm talking about your character. So when a woman says that, you know what, I've been misused, all I can ask is how many times. If you say or give me an answer in number of years, then it's your fault. Then you are malicious, not that man. He is not a narcissist. You are malicious. Because if you are being used twice, misused, or whatever, don't keep playing the victim card. Okay? A victim is a victim the first time he gets ambushed. Next time, you cannot get ambushed by the same trap or bear trap. Okay? It's your fault. You need to have thicker skin and stronger characters and a lot more knowledge about how to understand whether this man can or cannot, or where he can or cannot use the Islam card. Okay? And if any man listening out there thinks that quoting the Prophet ﷺ to wrongly, especially to gain whatever means that you're trying to gain, especially financially, then you think you're a Muslim, you have a right to call yourself a Muslim. I'll tell you what's going to happen to you when you're going to wake up. You are trying to misrepresent the Prophet ﷺ's personality and his behavior towards this aspect, which is the most important aspect, just to make sure your wife keeps working and you cannot, or you should not, and you're just going to, bum out. You think you have any human being has an allowance to do this, especially using the name of the Prophet ﷺ? You think anyone is going to be forgiven in the day of judgment for that? And that's not your question. I'm just picking out parts which are burning from that question so that I can first and foremost address the bigger things. And coming back to the money problem, it is a two-pronged issue, okay? Two-pronged issue. I'm not going to generalize that all men are narcissistic. You need to understand one thing. Unless you academically know what narcissism is, don't start calling every human being a narcissist. It's an academic word. It's like calling every stomach ache ulcer. Every stomach ache is not ulcer. Every headache is not brain tumor. Just like that, any kind of psychological issue with the man or woman is not, social issue, is not based on narcissism. Okay? I'm not saying the question that you're asking, I'm not answering that right now. I'm just saying, let's just come through the outer sphere inside, inbound. Now, if a guy is doing that, so he's becoming stingier, he does not know the ruling of Islam. Try and preach Islam. If he does not, then try and be a little more strict. Your money is not his money. Your money is not his money. If you are doing ihsan on him or the kids, then it's still ihsan on him. That you're spending on the kids that an ihsan on him. Stop doing that ihsan on the cost of your kids getting a bad father. Again, partly your fault. Okay. So don't become an accomplice to this crime. You're responsible for ruining the future of your own children because you're creating a lazy father and a very corrupt father figure. So you cannot call him narcissist. A bigger part of this construct, even if he is a narcissist, you're constructing, Frankenstein in your own house. You have that machine, and that's right here inside your own head. You're constructing Frankenstein. He's gonna come after your kids. Okay, so I'm not gonna just put the blame on that narcissistic creature who is claiming to be your husband or whatever. I'm just saying, you know what, just own up to your own character and responsibility, okay? And if you're not in Pakistan, then you have a lot more options to fix this problem than girls living in Pakistan or India. So if you are suffering from that problem, then you have a psychological weakness. And if I have to choose between, and I'm telling you honestly, if I have to choose between a narcissistic wife, and I'm a man, okay, and if I have to choose between a narcissistic husband for my sister or daughter and a virtue signaling victim playing woman for my son or brother, I'll be like, you know what, my sister is better off with a narcissist than my brother, with that crybaby who's always crying about how big of a victim she is, always trying to play the victim card and calling every human being around her a narcissist just because she loves, signaling that she's the most virtuous person just because she's being bulldozed by left, right, and center by everybody that she knows, and everyone's job is to hurt or, be, cruel to her. And all her life saga is about tears and, blood and whatnot. This is not going to sell on people who can think and with common sense. So make sure there's two sides of the story. I'm not saying most women are, borderline. I'm also not saying most men are narcissists. But what I'm saying is it takes two to tango. And if you are not learning from your lessons early on by making clear and hard decisions, then please do not have babies. And if you are having babies, quit calling each other labels like narcissist because you created that narcissist. You helped create 2 more, maybe 3 more in your kids. So even if you were a narcissist and you have 3 babies and you realize that you're practically a dumb person. That's worse than being a narcissist because you couldn't tell a narcissist and you had 3 babies with him or her. So you cannot survive. And you're making 3 more people very hard to survive. Okay. So I'll tell you a little shortcut here. Pick out those people who has this propensity to put the blame on anybody. As soon as you spot that person, you're going to see the first sign of what? Narcissism. So understand what I just heard in our academically. When you were asking, I was doing an academic MRI of the question and trying to see, okay, there's so much to talk about in your question, which I did, of course, in different categories. So if a man is playing an Islam card just to get some money in the bank or save some money in the bank, sorry, that dude should not be married to a Muslim woman. You know why? Because I don't want that guy to have more babies who he's going to think is a father of, because he's going to create more Xeroxes of his own, weirded out philosophy, which is not Islam. Okay. So, and if you're being party to making more babies with that kind of a guy or a woman, then you're part of the crime. You're part of the problem. Maybe you are the problem. You know what I'm saying? Tough decisions? Yeah, I know it's tough. I was talking about this in a session the other day, and this girl just stands up and says, you know what? You're not a girl. You don't know how hard it is to just leave a guy and just go on your own just because he's got issues and, whatnot. And I said, tell me something honestly. Is it harder than living with that guy or not? If it is not harder than living with that guy, then there is only one excuse, that you're just faking everything. You're a manipulative, malicious person because you're choosing a harder option. You're crying and whining about in public. And we give you an option. You say, you know what? That's not politically viable. Then you never had a problem to begin with. People who have a problem, there's a solution for it. You cannot fake a problem and use Islam as a card. I'm not talking to anybody in this room. I'm talking about an example of what just happened to me. So if leaving that man or a woman is harder than staying with that narcissist or bipolar or whatever, then don't leave him. Fix him or her. But if you cannot, then weigh your options very carefully and make it quicker to see. Quicker than you're going to get pregnant. Because if you have a baby, then I'm sorry, you're the one to blame, because that child absolutely no doing in a bad childhood, and of course, a very bad future husband or wife he or she is going to be, just because of this lack of courage of taking the right decision at the right time. Enough said, I guess. Enough said on this. Thank you for your insightful question, everybody. And hopefully we all got one step closer to, getting a perspective on making, courageous decisions. I think this is the theme of tonight's whole program: courage. Courage. Every question had this sort of a flavor, literally being asked in one, and me eroding that innate courage in every other question. So I hope everybody learned how to become a little more clear about making that bigger sacrifice. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your time, especially overseas kids who are listening. Try and become more active in understanding and what's the philosophy of Islam, and try and be more influential now, become a lot more active. Okay. So I just have one piece of advice for everybody living in overseas countries, especially the Western civilization, which is dominating the world. I want the girls of Islam and the boys of Islam to become way more active than those Michelle Obamas and and Oprah and whatnot. That without Quran, without the energy of the Quran, they've become agencies of activism. And we have the Quran, and we have the Seerah, and we are zero in activism. I do not know what we're waiting for. They're trying to do the right things, and they have no philosophy of, except some, Humes or Descartes and John Locke's and Nietzsche's and everything. You have Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have the owner and the creator of the universe, Allah Azza wa Jal, literally writing a book for you. Literally, Allah Azza wa Jal wrote a book for you, and you did not become a philosopher and an activist of that philosophy. And those people read Nietzsche and Descartes and Hume, and they became inspired and became the biggest activists. Shame on us. Nothing else but shame on us. And shame on those people who did not present the Quran to you. So it's time that you pick up the Quran, try and become the torch which is going to show the real path through the light of the Quran. Okay? Inshallah. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and your patience. I'll see you, inshallah, next week. A quick announcement, again, just a refresher. September 1st, 10 days Indonesia. October 1st, 10 days Australia. We're trying to do Melbourne. We're trying to do Canberra. We're trying to do Sydney. And we're trying, no promise, in Perth. Okay. Sessions are based on parents, group sessions, parents, one-on-one sessions, general one-on-one sessions, and university sessions in Australia. They're being locked right now. Anyone who's interested in organizing a session, please call the number in the description, and we'll be adding you in a lot of WhatsApp groups which are being made for Australia right now and Indonesia. Muslim identity and Muslim psychology tour. That's what they're trying to call it for Australia and Indonesia. And for those sessions, if you want to attend them, please contact us. If you want to organize one, please contact us. We have absolutely no intent of charging you for any of these Muslim identity sessions. For any sort of one-on-one or personal sessions, I'm so sorry, we cannot possibly have the time to do any of these free sessions. So they will be charged. I'm telling you this right now. The local teams who are arranging these sessions will charge you, but the rest of the sessions are free. All of the group sessions are hopefully free. I'm not promising anything, but I'll make sure the group Muslim psychology tour will be of I'm not promising it, but I'll try my best that I'm going to force them not to put any search or price in this so that, more people can attend. But this is Australia we're talking about. It's the first time I'm going there. I do not know the culture or the limitations. Hopefully, even if they do charge, it's going to be what, $2 or $3? I do not know. I can't even quote that. I'm not from there. But, it is to help people get there. So if there is a possibility, I'm going to make sure I pound on it, and I'm going to make sure all of these big sessions are going to be free to attend, inshallah. Just like in Pakistan, all of the Muslim Identity Tour anywhere is never charged a single penny. Okay, not even for travel. We don't even charge for travel. Okay, unless of course it is really far and we have to send a group, which we only did once in 3 years. Why I'm saying that, so that you understand that we did ask for the team to be transported there because of this whole setup that they required. Otherwise, I've never charged a penny. And even that charge, I didn't take, that was a third party. They actually charged for their own travel. Okay. So this tour is free, inshallah, other than the one-on-ones, which of course, we cannot put free of charge for so many reasons, which I'm sure you all understand. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Same rule applies for Europe. We're not going to charge anything for those Muslim psychology sessions in Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. What's the word? Well, the 3 countries on top, close to the Bering Sea, right across the North Pole. Sweden, Finland, and Norway. And then we go to North America and Canada, inshallah, in the end, before we come right back and spend the longest period, inshallah, in England, and then we'll see where we get from there. Inshallah, to all of this, if Allah permits, we will be going across the world for our Muslim psychology tour for our kids and our parents and general Muslim youth, so that they can understand how to take the next few years seriously, so that they can become a permanent part of our mission, inshallah. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. In the next program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.